Well, hello, my name's Derry, and this is my wife, Ashley.
I'm Ashley.
Ashley. I grew up mostly here in Louisville, but before that, my family was living overseas in Caracas, Venezuela. The first 3 or 4 years of my life, we were down there. That's actually how I first met Ashley. Her family, missionary family, was living down there for 20 years, and that's where Ashley grew up and was born.
Yeah, I was a missionary kid for 20 years in Venezuela, and that's kind of how I was introduced to missions. And then for college, I went to Florida and I got my degree in nursing. I kind of moved away from that, and it was during that time that I found out that I was actually called to missions, what I had grown up seeing my parents do all that time.
Yeah. For me, growing up as a missionary kid, I kind of understood this idea that, we've all been called. Christ, he gave his commandments to his disciples to make disciples of all nations. And I knew that from a young age, but I didn't really think that was for me. I saw that in my parents, and I thought that was just something for them. And so I went and I did my own thing. After high school, I joined the Navy, and I was with the Navy for 7.5 years. I was a search and rescue swimmer, and I really loved my job. I loved my community. It was actually during that time when I was, in the Navy that my job was to help people get out of a bad situation and then to bring them back to a safer place. And God began working in my heart, and I remember thinking, here I am helping people, just for a short amount of time. They're going to go on and live after this experience, but what happens when they die? Where are they going to be at for all eternity? And because of that, I started realizing that, there's something bigger going on here than just, this life. And I wanted to make a difference for people's lives for all eternity. And that's when I knew that God had called me to not just finish that career and pursue that career in the Navy, but to actually pursue his calling on my life, which is to help people for all eternity. So in 2013, Ashley and we met, and we had spent 20 years since we had last seen each other, practically, it seems, and we met as adults, and we shared with each other the same calling that God had placed in our lives. Ashley was in nursing and I was in the Navy, and it's really cool to see that we had the same calling. So when we fell in love with each other, and I asked her to marry me, and we got married in 2015. So when we got married, we moved to Johnson University, which is in Knoxville, Tennessee. And it was while I was attending Johnson University that there were some missionaries from Team Expansion. They just told us about the need for teammates, first of all, to join their team in Ancona, Italy. They knew that we were looking. We knew that God had placed a call in our lives, but we didn't know where yet. So they invited us to come check out Ancona, Italy, see what was going on there, and just to see the need for the gospel. And so we were asked because they needed teammates, and then two, just to see the need for the gospel in Italy. And so last year, 2017, Ashley and I actually had the opportunity to go there as part of my internship for Johnson University, and also it was a vision trip to kind of see the work that's going on. And that's when we really saw firsthand the need for the gospel, just to see how spiritually dark Italy was. And so we began praying about it. As soon as we got back, we felt that God had confirmed that was the place, working with the teammates there, the Kovals, and we knew that was the place for us, but we didn't know the timeline. And so we just prayed, and we were fasting through this time. We believe that, if we want to listen and hear from God, we need to just take time to pray and to fast and to really just listen to what he wants to do in our lives. And so when we were praying and fasting, we heard directly from God, just go. That's a whole other story I'd love to talk about, but it's just really cool how that happened. So we began selling everything that we had, and I graduated in May. And then over the summer, we moved up here, and we applied with a mission organization called Team Expansion, and they accepted us, and we've been going through training with them. And since then, we've been partnering with people like Shelby Christian Church, and this is our home church now, and it's just been such a blessing. And it's been a process, but just to see how God, has been a part of it the whole way, and just it's been a faith building process, and definitely count the cost, but it's worth it. It's definitely worth it because we're talking about people's lives for eternity, and I think having those people who are going to be behind you and encourage you in that way, like Shelby has been for us, and just the individuals here in the church and our life groups, the friendships that we've already made here, it's just been very, very impactful for us to know that there's people behind us encouraging us every step of the way.